Let's talk about the most dangerous time of day for your cardiovascular system. Most people assume it's during a high-stakes meeting, or perhaps while shoveling heavy snow in the driveway. But the reality is much quieter and much more personal. It's 4 a.m. Right now, millions of people crossing their fifth and sixth decades are waking up feeling like they've just run a marathon in their pajamas. You know the feeling. You swing your legs over the side of the bed and feel a dull ache in your ankles. You look down and see they're swollen. Your chest feels tight, and there's a heavy, stubborn brain fog that demands half a pot of coffee just to clear the cobwebs. Society, and even some doctors, will tell you this is simply the natural toll of blowing out more birthday candles. They'll tell you that fatigue and fluid retention are just part of the deal once you hit 50. I'm here to tell you that's a dangerous myth. You aren't just getting older. You are experiencing a biomechanical glitch. For a third of your life, you are forcing your cardiovascular system to fight a brutal, uphill battle in the dark. Every night you lie down, you are unknowingly asking your heart to do the impossible. But today, we are going to flip the script. I am going to share an insider secret, a three-phase framework I call the Midnight Blueprint. By making a few hyper-specific mechanical adjustments to how you rest, you can transform your bed from a stress zone into an active cardiovascular recovery chamber. Let's dive into exactly why your current sleep setup is exhausting you, and more importantly, exactly how we are going to fix it. To understand the fix, we have to look at the cold, hard, structural reality of your body as it stands today. Think back to your 20s. Back then, your blood vessels were incredibly elastic, like brand new, high-quality bungee cords. They could stretch and snap back instantly, effortlessly absorbing shifts in pressure whether you were standing, running, or sleeping. But as we cross the 50-year mark, our natural vascular elasticity drops. It's a biological fact. Those stretchy cords become more like rigid copper piping. They don't give as much. And this is where the bedtime sabotage happens. All day long, gravity is your enemy. It pulls interstitial fluid, water, and waste products down into your calves and feet. You see this as the sock marks at the end of the day. But when you finally lie perfectly flat in bed at night, that accumulated fluid doesn't just disappear. It rushes back toward your chest and head like a tidal wave. Now, let's look at this differently. For a younger heart, this horizontal flood is a minor inconvenience. But for a heart managing stiffer arteries, it is the metabolic equivalent of trying to merge 5 lanes of rush hour traffic into a single narrow alleyway. Your heart panics. It has to rev its engine and pump furiously just to clear the backlog of fluid sitting in your lungs and around your chest. This is why you might hear your pulse pounding in your ears at 2 a.m. or why you're waking up 3 times a night to use the bathroom. Your body isn't just active, it's desperately trying to bail out a flooded basement. Many people mistake this for a bladder issue. They cut out water after 6 p.m. thinking that's the cure. But the fluid isn't in your bladder, it's in your tissues. By the time you lie down, the damage is done. The key isn't drinking less water, it's changing how your body moves that water. Before we move on to the solution, consider this. What if you could process all that fluid before your head ever hits the pillow? That is exactly what we tackle in Phase 1. The biggest mistake most people make is waiting until they are unconscious to let their body process the day's physical toll. If you wait until you're asleep, your heart is forced to do all the heavy lifting while your metabolism is at its lowest point, creating a physiological bottleneck. To fix this, we need to actively clear the system before you ever pull back the covers through a process I call the evening decompression. Roughly 30 minutes before you plan to sleep, you need to deliberately and strategically reverse the flow of gravity. You can do this by finding a comfortable spot on the floor or a deep sofa and propping your legs up against a wall or a stack of heavy cushions at a 45-degree angle. Position your hips relatively close to the wall, creating a distinct V shape with your body. The science behind this move is simple yet profound. By elevating your legs while you are still awake and your metabolism is still humming, you signal your kidneys to begin filtering out that trapped lower body fluid early. When you are awake, your heart remains in performance mode, allowing it to handle the fluid volume with far greater ease than when you are in a deep sleep. Instead of your heart fighting a sudden tidal wave of fluid at 3 a.m., your system smoothly processes the drainage while you are finishing a chapter of a book or watching the evening news. This one adjustment alone is famous for eliminating those frustrating midnight bathroom trips and leaving you with remarkably leaner ankles by morning. To maximize the benefits, don't just lie there. Practice deep diaphragmatic breathing while your legs are elevated. Your diaphragm acts as a powerful secondary pump for your lymphatic system, meaning that by taking deep, intentional breaths, you are essentially vacuuming the fluid out of your legs and pulling it back into the circulatory loop for processing. It is a proactive way to prep your body for true rest rather than a night of internal labor. However, keep in mind that clearing the fluid is only half the battle. Once you actually get into bed, the geometry of your mattress becomes the most important factor in your cardiovascular health. Now, we have to address the mattress itself. We have been sold a century-old lie that sleeping board flat is the ultimate standard for posture and health. We see it in every mattress commercial. A perfectly level spine on a perfectly level surface, but for optimal circulation, especially as we age, a flat bed is actually a trap. To give your heart a true mechanical advantage, you must establish what I call the pitch-perfect elevation. This is a continuous 15-degree upward slope for your entire torso. When you angle your upper body slightly upward, gravity becomes your heart's best friend instead of its supervisor. It naturally pulls fluid down toward the lower extremities in a controlled way, easing the pressure on your brain and significantly lowering the workload on your cardiac muscle. It's like slightly tilting a pipe downward so the water flows freely on its own, rather than needing a high-pressure pump to move it. Before you go grabbing every pillow in the house, however, listen closely to this crucial warning. Do not try to build this incline by stacking 3 or 4 fluffy pillows behind your head. I call that the Guillotine Effect. Soft, stacked pillows are inherently unstable and will eventually shift during the night, forcing your chin to collapse down towards your chest. This doesn't just hurt your neck. It pinches off your airway and chokes the vital carotid arteries that supply your brain with oxygen. This dangerous position mimics the exact symptoms of sleep apnea and can actually cause your blood pressure to spike while you sleep. The real solution is to use a solid, high-density torso wedge, which is a firm piece of foam that supports you smoothly from the waist all the way to the crown of your head. Alternatively, if you prefer your current mattress feel, You can use sturdy bed risers placed directly under the headside feet of your bed frame. The ultimate goal is a straight, neutral spine resting on a gentle, continuous ramp. Now that we've cleared the fluid and set the angle, there is one final piece of the puzzle to consider: the specific side of the body you choose to rest on. You've cleared the fluid. You've set the elevation. Now, we need to secure the ultimate sleeping posture. Most people think it doesn't matter which way they turn, as long as they're comfortable. But your internal anatomy tells a very different story. Your heart is not symmetrical. It doesn't sit perfectly in the center of your chest, and your plumbing reflects that. The largest artery in your body, the aorta, arches up from the heart and aggressively hooks to the left side of your body to deliver oxygenated blood to the rest of your system. If you sleep on your right side, you are essentially asking your heart to pump blood uphill over that aortic arch. You are kinking the main return lines, forcing the heart to push against immense resistance all night long. If you sleep on your stomach, it's even worse. You are suffocating your lungs and crushing your circulatory pathways under the dead weight of your own spine. The elite move is the left bank sweep. Rolling onto your left side aligns your anatomy perfectly with gravity. It gives the aorta a frictionless downhill slope. This allows the heart to move blood with significantly less force. But to do this correctly, you can't just flop onto your left side. You must lock your skeleton into place so you don't twist out of alignment during the night. The mechanical fixes. The pelvic spacer. Place a firm, dedicated cushion directly between your knees. This prevents your upper leg from collapsing forward. When that leg drops, it twists your lower spine and pinches off the massive femoral arteries in your legs, slowing down the very circulation we're trying to fix. The rib bumper. This is the secret weapon. Slide a small, rolled-up hand towel directly under the curve of your left rib cage. This stops your mid-back from sagging into the mattress. It keeps your chest cavity wide open, ensuring your lungs and heart have maximum physical space to operate. Think of your chest cavity like a bellows. If you're slumped or twisted, the bellows can't open all the way. By using the spacer and the bumper, you're keeping the bellows fully functional, meaning every breath you take is more efficient. This might feel like a lot of equipment, but once you feel the difference in your morning energy, you'll never go back to a flat, unpropped bed again. Now let's talk about the common pitfalls and the finer points of Chapter 5. The nuance of nightly maintenance. It's important to acknowledge that when you first implement these changes, you might feel a bit fidgety or out of place. Often, people try these techniques for a single night and give up because it feels unfamiliar. You have to remember, your body has spent decades compensating for poor sleep mechanics and has built up a deep muscle memory for a stressful, flat sleeping environment. Your tissues and vessels need a few nights to recalibrate to this new, optimized alignment. So give yourself the grace of a transition period. One critical nuance people often miss is the ambient temperature of the room. You might think a cozy, warm room helps you drift off, but when your environment is too warm, your peripheral blood vessels dilate excessively. While vasodilation is usually a good thing, in a warm sleep environment, it actually causes more fluid to leak out of your vessels and into your surrounding tissues, directly worsening the horizontal flood we worked so hard to prevent. Keeping your room at a cool 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit works in tandem with the midnight blueprint to maintain sharp vascular tone, helping your veins constrict just enough to keep that fluid moving toward the heart rather than pooling in your skin. Another essential pro tip is to perform a quick sock check from your day's wear. If you've spent 10 hours in socks with tight, elastic bands, you've unknowingly created a tourniquet effect that traps fluid in the feet and ankles all day. This creates a massive backlog that even the best elevation can't fully clear in one night. Switching to loose-fitting socks, or better yet, graduated compression socks during the day, can make your evening decompression phase twice as effective, as the fluid is already primed to move upward the moment you kick your feet up. Finally, we have to address a very common mistake: the secondary pillow. Many people try to add a standard neck pillow or a thick head pillow on top of their new torso wedge. This almost always pushes the head too far forward, breaking the very alignment we are trying to protect. Remember, the golden rule of the blueprint is a neutral spine. Your ears should always be in line with your shoulders to keep those carotid arteries wide open. If you feel your chin tucking toward your chest or feel a strain in the back of your neck, your wedge is either too steep or your head pillow is far too thick. Once you dial in these environmental and postural details, the system becomes seamless. We've now covered the mechanics, the physics, and the biology, so it's time to put this into practice with a concrete plan. Pills and prescriptions are often designed to artificially suppress the symptoms of a struggling system. They try to thin the blood or force the kidneys to work harder. But today, you possess something different: the structural blueprint to fix the root mechanical cause of your nighttime fatigue. I am challenging you to a 30-day night shift override. For the next month, I want you to commit entirely to this 3-phase framework. 1. Drain the fluid for 15-30 minutes before bed with your legs elevated. 2. Secure your 15-degree incline using a proper wedge or bed risers, no guillotine pillows. 3. Lock into the left bank sweep with a knee spacer and a rib bumper. Don't just take my word for it. Pay close attention to your body. Track your morning blood pressure before you even stand up from the bed. Notice how rapidly the morning brain fog burns off. Feel the difference in your baseline energy when your heart finally gets the 8 hours of profound, effortless rest it deserves. Your circulatory system is a masterpiece of biological engineering, but even the best machines need the right environment to thrive. Stop making your heart fight gravity in the dark. Set up the blueprint tonight and let physics do the heavy lifting while you finally get the rest you've been missing. If you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to hit the subscribe button and toggle the bell icon. We have a deep dive coming up next week on the specific micronutrients that rebuild vascular elasticity from the inside out. Sleep well, and I'll see you in the next video.